Imagine a single symbol appearing across the globe, carved by civilizations separated by vast oceans and thousands of years. What would that reveal about our ancient past? For thousands of years, across continents and through the mists of deep time, a silent message has been etched into the very bones of the earth. It's a symbol so simple, yet so profound, that its global presence has baffled archaeologists and historians for over a century. We're talking about the cup and ring marks, and their story isn't just about ancient art. It's about a possible universal language, a shared human consciousness that might connect us all in ways we've only just begun to imagine. Prepare to journey back 10,000 years to unravel one of archaeology's most mind-bending puzzles, a mystery that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about our ancestors. The marks themselves are deceptively simple. A central, bowl-shaped depression, often called a cup, surrounded by one or more concentric circles, or rings. Sometimes, a straight line, a groove, or a tail emerges from the rings, adding another layer to their enigmatic design. They can be tiny, just a few inches across, or massive, covering entire rock faces. They appear crude, yet intentional, carved with stone tools into the hardest granite, or painstakingly pecked into softer sandstone. Picture ancient artists sitting for hours, days, even weeks, meticulously chiseling these patterns into unyielding rock. This wasn't some idle doodling. It was a deliberate, monumental effort. And where do we find them? Almost everywhere. They're not confined to isolated pockets. You'll find them on towering megaliths that stand sentinel over ancient landscapes deep within the shadowy recesses of prehistoric caves, and even on the bedrock beneath your feet, sometimes exposed by the shifting sands of time. These aren't just random carvings. They are deliberately placed, often in prominent locations, or sites with clear ceremonial significance. Their timeline is just as staggering. We're talking about origins stretching back to the Neolithic period, around 10,000 BCE, right up through much more recent indigenous artworks. This means that for thousands of years, different cultures with no known contact kept reproducing this exact same symbol. Let's take a quick trip around the globe to see just how widespread this phenomenon is. In Europe, the wind-swept hills of Scotland's Kilmartin Glen are home to some of the most spectacular examples dating back to 3,500–2,500 BCE. Northumberland in England also boasts hundreds of these carvings, often found near ancient burial mounds or stone circles. But don't think this is just a European thing. Cross the Atlantic and you'll find strikingly similar designs etched into the rocks of the American Southwest, for instance, at Petroglyph National Monument in New Mexico, left by ancestors of today's Pueblo peoples. Venture into the vast, sun-baked expanses of the Sahara Desert, specifically the Tassili and Azure region, and you'll discover cup and ring marks alongside incredible rock art depicting ancient wildlife. And then journey to Asia, where megalithic sites in India reveal their own versions of this ancient motif. This is not a coincidence, not a quirk of regional art. The sheer uniformity of these symbols, found in places separated by oceans and continents, in cultures that couldn't possibly have communicated, is the heart of the mystery. It's like finding the same intricate signature in diaries written by people who never met, in languages they didn't share. So, how do we explain this baffling puzzle? Archaeologists and thinkers have grappled with this for decades, proposing several compelling theories, each with its own merits and challenges. One dominant theory is what we might call the independence of mind theory. This idea suggests that the human brain, regardless of culture or geography, is wired in a fundamentally similar way. We're all equipped with a remarkable capacity for pattern recognition, and we all process the world through certain innate cognitive lenses. Think about it. The circle is a universal shape. It's in the sun, the moon, the horizon, the pupil of an eye, the ripples in water. It's a primal form. The idea here is that when ancient humans began to contemplate abstract concepts, time, cosmos, eternity, the sacred, their minds, independently, arrived at a similar symbolic representation. The cup could represent a central point, a source, a focal point of existence, while the rings could signify expansion, eternity, cyclical time, or layers of understanding. It's almost as if the geometry of the universe itself is reflected in the human mind, leading different peoples to spontaneously create the same basic visual language. This theory is powerful because it doesn't require any physical contact between groups. It's about the shared architecture of the human brain. But then there's another powerful contender, the diffusion theory. This theory proposes that rather than independent invention, the cup and ring symbol originated in a single ancient culture and then slowly spread across the globe through migration, trade, or cultural exchange. Imagine a single point of origin, perhaps the Fertile Crescent, the birthplace of civilization, or the vast Eurasian steppes, a highway for ancient peoples. As these early groups migrated, either slowly over millennia or in successive waves, they carried their beliefs, their technologies, and their sacred symbols with them. As the last ice age waned, vast swathes of land opened up, facilitating these epic journeys. The symbol, a potent representation of something deeply meaningful, would have been passed down, adopted, and adapted by new cultures encountered along the way. However, the diffusion theory faces a significant hurdle. How do you explain its presence in the Americas and Australia? These continents were populated long before any known transoceanic contact between the Old World and the New. If the symbol diffused from a single source in Eurasia, how did it leap across vast oceans to peoples who had been isolated for tens of thousands of years? This challenge makes a purely diffusionist explanation incredibly difficult to maintain for all instances of the symbol. It leaves us scratching our heads, wondering if the answer is a combination of both theories or something entirely different. This brings us to a third, more spiritual and cosmological interpretation, that the symbol represents a shared spiritual or cosmological meaning. Perhaps the cup and ring wasn't just a pattern, but a profound spiritual concept, universally understood by different ancient cultures. What could it represent? Some scholars suggest it might be a map of the spirit world, a diagram for shamans to navigate altered states of consciousness. The central cup could be the entry point, the vortex, while the rings could represent different realms or layers of existence encountered during a trance journey. The straight line, the tail, might indicate a path or a journey from one world to another. Others propose it represents something more tangible, yet equally vital: water. Many cup and ring marks are found near ancient water sources, springs, rivers, or rock pools. In arid regions especially, water was life, and representing it in a sacred way would make perfect sense. The cup could be a pool, the rings the ripples extending outwards, or the life-giving essence flowing from a central source. It could symbolize fertility, abundance, or even the female principle given the nourishing properties of water. Still others tie it to astronomical observations, a simplified representation of celestial bodies or planetary alignments. The sun and moon, those eternal circles in the sky, would have been central to ancient beliefs about time, fertility, and the cosmos. Many researchers lean heavily on the shamanic context. Across diverse indigenous cultures, the circle often symbolizes a portal between worlds, a gateway to the ancestral realm, the spirit realm, or places of healing. The concentric rings amplify this, suggesting increasing levels of sacredness or depth. Imagine an ancient shaman sitting before one of these carved rocks, using it as a focal point for their journey, tracing the patterns with their fingers, chanting, and entering a trance. The rock itself becomes animated, a conduit to other dimensions. This resonates with the way many indigenous cultures view rock art, not just as pictures, but as living entities, sacred sites imbued with power. Delving deeper into contextual clues and functional interpretations reveals that the location of these symbols often tells us a lot about their potential meaning. It's not just what they carved, but where they carved it. As mentioned, many are found associated with water sources. Picture this: a parched traveler in the American Southwest or a hunter in ancient Scotland coming across one of these marks carved into bedrock right beside a hidden spring. It's a sign, a marker, possibly even a prayer of thanks for the life-giving water. But then, just as compellingly, we find them on burial sites. In Europe especially, cup and ring marks frequently adorn the capstones of passage tombs and ancient burial mounds. Here, their meaning shifts. They might symbolize the cycle of life and death, the journey of the soul into the afterlife, or a connection between the living and the dead. The central cup could represent the burial chamber, the resting place, and the rings, the eternal journey, or the spirits ascending to another realm. This strong association with both life-giving water and death suggests a profound ritual function, tying the symbol to the most fundamental aspects of human existence, survival, and the great mystery of what comes next. Regional interpretations further enrich the tapestry. In Scandinavia, for instance, some archaeologists interpret cup and ring marks, especially when found with other solar motifs, as being associated with sun worship and fertility rites. The sun, a perfect circle, was a giver of life, warmth, and the rhythm of seasons. In the American Southwest, the Pueblo people's ancestors are believed to have used similar symbols not just decoratively, but to mark significant springs or ancient migration routes, acting as both spiritual beacons and practical signposts. It's a language of the landscape, a way to imbue the physical world with sacred meaning and guidance. Now, we must also acknowledge the critiques and enduring significance of this mystery. It's easy, perhaps too easy, to see patterns where none exist. This is known as patternicity, the human tendency to perceive meaningful patterns in random data. Could it be that these simple shapes are just, well, simple shapes? Some skeptics suggest that cup and ring marks might be the most basic product of early tool use. Perhaps they were preliminary drilling marks, or the residual patterns left by grinding or polishing tools. A simple indentation, then a circular motion. Repeat. This explanation would certainly deflate the romantic notion of a shared ancient consciousness. However, this critique struggles to explain the sheer intentionality and repetition of the designs. If they were mere tool marks, why are they so often found in clear, deliberate arrangements, sometimes covering entire panels? Why are they so consistently created across vast geographical and temporal distances? The argument against randomness is the consistent, almost stylized form they take, and their placement at significant ceremonial or natural sites. This isn't random scuffing, this is deliberate art with purpose. The intentional placement, the careful carving, and the consistent symbolic structure across epochs strongly suggest a deeper, more profound significance than mere accidental markings. So, where does this leave us? The ultimate status of the cup and ring mystery remains, for now, wonderfully unresolved. We don't have a definitive answer. There is no smoking gun, no ancient Rosetta Stone that translates these symbols directly for us. And perhaps that's the beauty of it. What this global phenomenon does provide, however, is a profound testament to a shared human unconscious, a collective wellspring of ideas and symbols that transcends language, culture, and time. It suggests that certain core human experiences, certain ways of perceiving the world, certain fundamental concepts, like the circle, the center, infinity, life, death, journey, are hardwired into our very being. These ideas are so powerful, so resonant, that they found expression in similar forms, even when cultures were utterly isolated. The cup and ring mark is a silent reminder that, at our deepest level, humans are all interpreters of the same mysterious world. We look up at the same sun and moon, wonder at the same vastness of the cosmos, and grapple with the same fundamental questions of existence. And perhaps, in our earliest days, we even shared a common visual vocabulary to express those questions. This symbol is a whisper from our ancient past, reminding us of our shared humanity, connecting us to minds that lived and dreamt thousands of years ago. It's a riddle carved into the stone, inviting us all to ponder the echoes of our collective past. If this journey into ancient mysteries has sparked your curiosity, make sure to check out our next deep dive into humanity's hidden history.